here we are, and we're back looking at the ever-growing storm now, storm around the reappearance of the flat Earth. So it's the 11th year, 7th, 2016, and I've just received my copy of the Guardian Weekly, and what do I find in the middle section? A huge story on the flat Earth. This is the latest Guardian, Guardian Weekly. So the picture itself in the centrefold, poor representation of the model of a flat Earth. Nevertheless, there's the extent that the newsmakers have had their cages rattled for the Guardian Weekly to pick this up is recognition that you can't censor what people are thinking, and so there is a huge and growing group of people who are now having a careful think about what the world, the Earth, really looks like. And I'd have to say that while they've dedicated a big piece to the photograph in the centrefold of the Guardian Weekly, it's a very poor representation of the idea. And I think the article itself, these people who decide to have a crack at anyone who's thinking differently to the convention of the time is fair game for ridicule and sniggering. And so the article's just shot through with ridicule, which is sad really, because what it does is it lowers the tone of the Guardian Weekly. It can't regard it as serious journalism, in as much as it ought not to stoop to ridicule as a basis for an article. And that's all it is, basically. It's just, shot through with ridicule. It hasn't examined the history of the Earth at the centre of the universe. Sadly, many people who are re-examining the whole notion of a flat Earth have not had the resources or the help to look at the biblical position, which is very important. I mean, the whole idea of putting the sun at the centre of the universe was an attempt to overthrow the biblical position. And I guess, it's been fairly successful up until now, but with the internet, social networks, YouTube, Facebook, all of this is now back and is being debated with a fury. And I'm very pleased. The article was being published in the Guardian Weekly. It's given me an opportunity to crack at the article. I'm not so interested in the person, but the kinds of criticisms that have been constructed. As I said, I find the lacking in balance and perspective. And I mean, so why should we be expecting anything better? Well, Guardian Weekly has had a reputation, and it's now being lost. So, I mean, to just try and relegate flat earthers to the archives of conspiracy theorists is a pretty intellectually shallow approach. That's what I've got to say about this. And the further I investigate and read around the subject and listen to the criticisms, I find that mostly the main platform of criticism that's levelled at the flat earthers is based on purely and simply ridicule, which is pathetic. We're not about that. We don't want to. Yeah. So, I mean, that's no basis for a come let us reason together, the Bible says, and undermining what people say with ridicule. Well, in some genres it might be acceptable, but in terms of searching for the truth, I don't think it's fair game at all. Right, so there you are. Flat earthers have stolen the middle page of the latest Guardian Weekly, and they now have an opportunity to, put their side of the story, and the Guardian Weekly has to allow it to be published. But we'll wait and see.